All right, I'm here with John McGuire, also known as Johnny Mac from Big Brother 17. How are you?
Good. How's it going, Brian?
Doing well, thank you. So, you're now Johnny Mac from Big Brother 17. How does that feel?
It feels awesome. It's different, and I'm getting used to it. And some people are calling me Dr. Johnny Mac now, and it's pretty good. It's a pretty good change. I'm not too upset about it.
Did you ever think there'd be a doctor in front of that name, huh?
Yeah, right. Yeah, doctor in front of my nickname. Yeah, it's less formal now. That's for sure.
Now, pre Big Brother 17, obviously you work in a dental practice.
Yes.
What's the transition been like coming out of the Big Brother house, going back to the dental practice, and then we'll get into Big Brother 17.
Yeah, so just coming out of the Big Brother house, I didn't win any money, so I still have to take care of the loan payments and everything. So it's been back to work and trying to balance that and all the Big Brother stuff. It's been crazy. It's been a lot. Yeah.
Now, you were a super fan, or are a super fan of the show. You mentioned that you had been trying out for a couple seasons. What do you think made this season the right time for the producers to take notice?
I think it's just a lot of luck. I mean, I've been trying for a lot of seasons, and I definitely got better and better at being good for the show every season. But I think it's just a lot of, hey, yeah, let's try this one out this year. It's just there's a lot of randomness in it too. I think that's what it is.
What is one of the most surprising things that people who watch the show, that obviously are not privy to being in the house, what's one thing that would surprise them after experiencing the house that you found surprising being in it versus watching?
I think that the biggest surprise once I got in there was how much downtime there is. Like, when you watch the show, it's just like, oh, there's competitions, there's people getting voted out left and right, there's just so much going on. And if you watch the feeds, you're like, all right, well, there's a lot of times where they're just sitting around plotting. And then once you're actually on the show, there's stuff that's not even on feeds. Like, you're not even interesting enough, you're not plotting, you're just kind of sitting there doing nothing, and that doesn't even make the feeds. So if you've seen the feeds, you still don't have the whole story of everything that goes on in there, you know?
What was your strategy going in, and did it change at any point during the game?
My strategy going in, oh wait till this truck goes by.
Damn you!
Damn trucks! Get the hell out of here! No, my strategy going in was just don't get paranoid, because people can feed off that paranoia. It just makes more people more uncomfortable about you. So what I'm talking about with the paranoia is don't go around feeling like you need to make all these alliances with people. Don't go throwing other people under the bus for no reason unless they're actually your target and you're trying to actively get that one person out of the house. You don't need to do that to multiple people, to everyone else. You don't need to play so hard so fast. And once it started getting farther and farther into the game, then I tried to just work with certain people over others and just keep that going forward. So at the beginning, it was just don't freak out, pretty much.
At any point during the season, did you, obviously you don't have any kind of interaction with the fans of the show while you're in the house.
Right.
Were you surprised with your popularity coming out?
Yeah, when I walked out that first time, that was awesome. When I heard the crowd cheer, I was not expecting that. And then when I came out the second time, same thing. I mean, I had my knowledge from the first time that it was well liked, and I was glad to see that I still had it coming out the second time, so that was cool. Yeah.
I think people were disappointed that you were evicted a second time.
Yeah, I was disappointed.
Sure, you were too.
Yeah, I was very disappointed.
But I feel like fans were super disappointed. You got back in, and I think you had a lot of rooting value for you. What do you credit that to?
I don't know. Maybe it's weird. At the same time, when you're nominated so many times in the beginning, you're kind of like an underdog there. You just can't seem to get out of a rough spot. So maybe my bad luck turned into a good luck kind of thing. Maybe that's all it was. I don't know.
Did you go as far as you thought you would? Was there a point in the game where you thought, maybe I'm not going to be a pawn? Did you last as long as you thought, or did you think you would go even further? Based on what you knew living in the house.
Yeah, pretty much how I felt every time was pretty spot on. The first couple times, I didn't feel like I was going anywhere. Even if things went really wrong each of the 4 weeks that I was up initially, I still felt like there were other people that were going to go instead of me. The first time I felt in danger was the week that I was evicted the first time, and then going on from there, I think I felt in danger for the second double eviction, but luckily they didn't evict me. So yeah, the next time I felt like I was leaving was Final Four. So
Yeah. Now, your former house guest, did anybody go further than you thought they would, and did anybody get evicted sooner than you thought they would?
further than I thought they would. I thought James made it a long time for being like the first HOH and showing that he was good at competitions. Like, he made it really far, I thought. Someone who should have gone farther, I would have liked to see like Jason or Day go farther. I mean, Day was playing really aggressively at the beginning, like she was not gonna make it that much farther, but I would have liked to have seen Jason go farther for sure.
Now you're back outside the house. You are also known as the Rockstar dentist. How did that come about?
I was just really good at guitars. I got into metal and everything somewhere in between undergrad and dental school. I just learned how to play like all these crazy guitar songs. And I noticed in dental school, not a lot of other dental students were doing that. They were just studying all the time. So I was like, well, that makes me a little different there, that I have these YouTube videos where I'm playing the guitar stuff, and I think I'm better than a lot of guitarists out there, and I've earned my title. Whether I'm on tour or not, I feel like I'm good enough to be with the best of them there.
That's all that matters, really, is how you feel about yourself.
Yeah, I haven't done anything differently. I thought when I was evicted that I should have gotten rid of Steve instead of Austin, but now I'm coming around to realize, like, probably not. It was probably, hindsight was like, oh yeah, if I got rid of Steve, I would have won. But now, like, double hindsight is like, no, I don't think I would have won, because looking at it now, I'm like, we were all going to take Liz to the final two, it seems like. Everyone was going to take them. So it didn't matter really which one I got rid of at that point. So I always thought, like, right when I got out and I was like sulking, I was like, oh, I should have just gotten rid of Steve. That's what I should have done. End that alliance that was killing my game, but I don't think it would have changed a whole lot. It came down to competitions at that point. There was no convincing Vanessa to do anything other than what she wanted to do. She's a very smart person, for sure. Maybe earlier on, could I have gotten in with, like, maybe the Goblins sooner than I did? I don't know. Maybe that would have helped.
Is there someone you absolutely feel like you would have beaten in the final two versus someone you don't think you had a chance on in terms of popularity and gameplay?
Yeah, I think, like, when you come down to any of these voting situations in Survivor or Big Brother, like, the number one thing is how much does that jury member like me as a person, and then if they don't like you, then it comes down to gameplay. So I felt like the only one that would have been close was Vanessa, because she probably did play a little better than I did. But I still might have beaten her because the jury members like me better than her. So
your social game was way better than her social game?
I felt, yeah, like I could have been, like, the first 5 members of jury, I thought I had the votes, so it didn't matter who went to jury with me, or to the final 2 with me. It was just like, I have to get there at this point, and I hope no one else catches on to this. Like, and they almost didn't. They were always, like, especially Vanessa and Steve, they were so wrapped around, like, who had the most competition wins, or who did the most strategizing, that they completely ignored, like, how do you make people feel about themselves? And I was like, if they're on this kick, maybe they don't realize that I've been doing that this whole time, and maybe I can sneak to the final 2. And didn't work out, but I felt like I could have beaten pretty much anyone from final 6 onward in final 2.
I think viewer-wise and jury house-wise, you were extremely popular. How does that feel coming out knowing that, you know, you had the votes jury way, and you also were, you know, very popular with the public?
That feels awesome. Like, that's not something that I was even going in there to do. Like, I just wanted to get on this show because I love the show. I wanted to play the way I was going to play, and I even said, like, with my interview with Jeff beforehand, like, I don't care if people like me or not going into this thing. Like, I want to win the money. And, like, when I came out and it's the exact opposite, I lost twice and people love me, I'm like, that's just as good too, you know? So, awesome.
Is there something that you looking back now, think you would have done to make yourself unlikable that may have helped you a little go further, or is there a move that you would have made to make yourself look like a bigger threat instead of being, the friendly, jokey guy?
Yeah, maybe I would have had to do something like really evil, like take out Becky or something.
Yeah.
Like that, it probably would have taken something on that level to tick enough people off in the jury to actually get people to saying like, oh, they don't like him, let's get him to final two. That would have gotten me to final two. I was there to win, not go to final two. So
Yeah, that's right.
I tried to play as hard as I could, and I wasn't gonna do something dumb like that. No.
And I feel like that was part of some of your housemates' downfalls, that they weren't playing the game for themselves so much, they were playing it for other people, and weren't even looking at final two. They were looking at going to third or fourth, and then we're like, well, wait, now what's gonna happen? Like, I don't feel they played as smart as they could have, number-wise.
Yeah, you gotta think a couple moves ahead, and having a nice giant powerhouse alliance, it works for a while, but then you gotta get rid of each other.
That's
It doesn't stop at 6 and everyone just ends.
It's like, oh wait, Big Brother top 6. That's also being recognized.
That's weird. Like, even like coming out the first time, and people were like, Johnny Mac! I was like, how do you know who I am? That's crazy, because it never happened before in my life, that's for sure. And it's cool. Just it's not anything crazy. It's just you just walk down the street and people know who you are. You're like, hey, what's up? And then talk for a bit.
What advice would you give to a Big Brother wannabe now that you're on the other side, looking, going from fan to player to now back to being a fan again next year? What advice would you give to land on the show?
Yeah, it's not what you'd think. So, like, try and get on. Like, is that what you're saying? Like,
yeah, is there a tip that you would have, or like, what do you think stood out to get you cast?
Yeah, I think the weird things. Okay, when you're going through the casting, things you shouldn't do, like whether you're doing a video or whether you're going to one of the casting calls, whatever. Don't get on there and be like, oh, I'm gonna be such a mastermind. I'm gonna do this, this, and this. Or I'm gonna play just like this person did. It's like, don't do any of that stuff, because they don't. If they wanted Dr. Will back on again, they would get Dr. Will back on again. They're not gonna come after you and get like a second-rate Dr. Will. They're gonna get him. So when you're interviewing, just focus more on yourself and be weird. Like, when I got in that house, I realized everyone in here is crazy, and they're okay with being crazy in front of the entire country. And that's what you have to do. Like, all the things that you would keep in your head when you're out with other people, let it out. Like, everyone's got it in them. You just have to be okay with letting it out, and that's what's gonna get you on the show.
Coming out of the house and going back to the dental practice, and you having to be Dr. John McGuire as opposed to Johnny Mac, is it hard for you was there always a little bit of Johnny Mac and Dr. John McGuire, or do you feel like you really have to like work hard to keep the Johnny Mac stamina up?
No, there's both. It's two things. It's like, Johnny Mac is just, I don't care what I'm saying, I let it out, and then Dr. McGuire was like, I gotta be professional right now. There's work to be done. So I'm kind of mixing it both together. Patients seem to like that. And yeah, it's good going forward. It's different, but it's probably better than it was before.
I can't imagine, quote unquote, Johnny Mac being like, "You got terrible teeth. You need to brush better." You know what I mean? Like, people would not take you seriously. Yeah, go off on them. That might be a great reality show.
Yeah, you just gotta joke with people a bit, like, all right, this wisdom tooth, it's gotta go. This one's done for. Let's get you numb and yank that sucker out. Let's go.
Johnny, it was so great interviewing you. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with me.
Thanks a lot.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.